My name is Lila. I am 25 years old, and until recently, I lived a completely normal life. I worked in an office, managed my day-to-day tasks, and dreamed of what my future might hold. But everything changed one day, a day that began like any other yet ended with me experiencing something that turned my entire understanding of life, death, and what comes after completely upside down. That day, my heart stopped for 10 minutes. While doctors desperately worked to revive me, my soul traveled to a place I had never known before. What I saw, felt, and understood there has forever changed me. It wasn't just a personal experience, it was a profound revelation and a warning I've been compelled to share. When I first became aware in this other realm, the sensation was unlike anything I'd ever known. My physical body no longer seemed to matter. I existed as pure consciousness. There was no heaviness, no burden, no pain, only a lightness, a sense of complete freedom. Surrounding me was an infinite expanse, bathed in golden light. But this wasn't like sunlight. It wasn't harsh or blinding. Instead, it was warm, soft, and alive. The light seemed to embrace me, filling every part of my soul with peace and comfort. The silence in this place was unlike anything I'd ever experienced. It wasn't merely the absence of sound, it was a silence so profound it carried meaning. It was as though every particle of this space was imbued with answers to all the questions I had ever asked, even those I hadn't voiced. I was no longer constrained by time or space. It was as if they didn't exist. All my fears, anxieties, and doubts had evaporated, leaving behind only a deep, quiet calm. And then I saw him. Out of the radiant golden light, a figure began to emerge. At first, I could only make out its outline. The light was so brilliant that the details were obscured. But as the figure moved closer, the intensity of the light softened, and I could see his face. And though I had never met him in this life, I knew immediately who he was: Jesus. There was no hesitation, no doubt in my mind. I knew him, and he knew me. His presence was overwhelming, not in a way that frightened me, but in a way that filled every part of me with love, understanding, and a sense of belonging. In an instant, the beautiful light that surrounded us vanished, and the scene before me changed. I found myself standing in a place I instantly recognized: California. The coastal cities and familiar landscapes spread out before me. But what I saw wasn't the California we know, it was a vision of destruction. Massive wildfires raged across the land, devouring everything in their path. The flames climbed high into the sky, consuming forests, neighborhoods, and homes. Thick, dark smoke blotted out the sun, casting a sinister glow over the scene. People ran in terror, clutching their loved ones and belongings, but the fires moved too quickly for many to escape. Then the ground beneath us began to quake violently. The unshakable structures of humanity, skyscrapers, bridges, and roads, crumbled as if they were made of sand. Entire buildings collapsed into piles of rubble, while highways split apart, leaving massive chasms that swallowed cars and people whole. But the destruction didn't stop there. Suddenly, the ocean surged forward. Towering waves crashed over the coast, flooding cities and wiping out everything in their path. Streets turned into raging rivers. I saw people clinging to rooftops and trees, desperately trying to survive, but the water was relentless. It was chaos on a scale I could barely comprehend. It was as though the very forces of nature had risen against humanity. The screams of people echoed all around me, mixing with the roar of the fires, the crashing waves, and the crumbling earth. And then Jesus spoke. His voice was both gentle and powerful, carrying a profound sorrow and unshakable authority. "This is judgment," he said. "People have turned away from me. They have forgotten my love and the grace I offer. They have placed money, power, and fame above all else. They have neglected my creation and ignored the suffering of their neighbors. Their hearts have grown cold." I stood there, frozen, as his words pierced my soul. Everything I saw, the fires, the earthquakes, the floods, wasn't just a series of natural disasters. It was the result of humanity's choices, a judgment for our neglect, our selfishness, and our indifference. But then, amid the devastation, I began to notice something else. In the darkness, I saw pockets of light, small groups of people who were praying, helping one another, and showing kindness. These lights were few, but they shone brightly, cutting through the gloom. "These are my beacons of hope," Jesus said, pointing to them. "Even in the darkest times, there are those who remain faithful. Their love and actions sustain the world. But time is running out. If humanity does not turn back to me, these disasters will only be the beginning. Tell them. Let them know that mercy is still possible if they choose me." His words etched themselves into my heart. I realized that what I was seeing wasn't just a warning for me, it was a message for all of humanity. There was still time to change, but that time was running out. Before I could respond, the scene began to fade, and I found myself waking up in a hospital bed. Doctors and nurses surrounded me, their faces filled with relief. I heard someone say, "She's back." My heart was beating again, but I knew that my life would never be the same. From that moment on, I knew I had to share this message. I left my job, realizing that my purpose wasn't to climb the corporate ladder, but to warn others of what I had seen. I began speaking out, telling people that there is still hope, still time to change, but that we must act now. The vision of California and the words of Jesus stay with me. They are a constant reminder that even in the face of destruction, there is light, and there is redemption. Jesus showed me that even the smallest acts of love and kindness can make a difference. I share this story not to scare you, but to remind you that we all have a choice. We can choose light, love, and God. Time is short, but it is not too late. If you're hearing this, you've already taken the first step. Now it's time to act. Choose hope. Choose faith. Choose love.